A little bit about how I came to know who Mr. Allen is. For those of you who don't know, this is Mr. Bill Allen. He is a Murfreesboro guy. He lives right over here on Baird Street. I had the opportunity of hearing him speak last year at Blackman Middle School. Did a Veterans Day program where they honored veterans, and actually it was the weekend that we were working on Maston's Eagle Scout project, and my dad was here. He's in the Marines, and my niece, who was a student over at Blackman at the time, she sang in the choir, so we went over there to hear her sing, and also so my dad could be recognized as a veteran for Veterans Day. Well, Mr. Allen was the guest speaker that day, and I was so impressed by his story that I made a mental note that I would love for Mr. Allen to be able to come out and speak to the boys and the troop. Mr. Allen is a World War II veteran. He was part of the Normandy invasion, and I'm not going to give too much of his story away because I want him to be able to tell you. He's going to do a much better job than I could, but I was so thrilled to be able to get to hear him. Our World War II veterans are certainly American heroes, somebody that is due our respect. And guys, I know that you're going to enjoy hearing him talk tonight. And for our veterans that are also here, when Mr. Allen is finished, when Mr. Allen gets finished, don't leave, because I want to have all of our veterans come up here so we can recognize you guys. So don't anybody move. And then also, when we're finished, we have some refreshments and stuff like that for everybody. Because we're here tonight because on the 11th is Veterans Day, and that's the day that our country recognizes the men and women of the United States military from Revolutionary War to today, where we take a day to especially think about and remember and recognize what they did for our country. So, without further ado, I give you Mr. Bill Allen.
Thank you very much. I appreciate those
You're very
kind
welcome.
words.
You're very welcome. I'm glad you're here.
Now, if any of you in the back cannot hear me, raise your hand at any time and I'll call all you. You just say louder and I'll turn the volume up a little bit. As you were told, I am World War II veteran. Was in the Navy from 1943 to 1946. Finished high school, Old Central High School, just a few blocks through here over Maple Street at that time. About 6 weeks later, found myself in the Navy at boot camp in Bainbridge, Maryland. Now, Bainbridge was the other side of Baltimore, almost out of Maryland. Just a little bit more than it would have been in Delaware. Boot camp, for many, it was a rough deal. But I had played basketball, baseball, and some football all the way through high school. And the physical part of boot camp wasn't too hard. I accepted that very easily. The one thing that I really learned out of boot camp was responsibility. I learned that I had to keep my clothes clean. The area that I lived in had to be clean. If I had to be somewhere at 9 o'clock, I got there at 5 minutes to 9, not 5 minutes after 9. The Navy had a way of convincing you that you would be on time. Boot camp lasted about 6 or 7 weeks. Out of boot camp, I went to Hospital Corps School. That was also at Bainbridge. There we took courses that would help us in the field of medicine. I took anatomy, first aid, minor surgery, medications, hospital procedures, maybe another course or two. That lasted about 6 or 7 weeks. During school, there's a group of us, about 10, that became very, very close friends. We were all Southern boys, from Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, one from Mississippi. We spent an awful lot of time together. When school was over, we were lucky. We all got sent to the Naval Hospital at Millington, Tennessee. That's just outside of Memphis. We were assigned to different wards, learned to do the chores, the duties that you have to do around the hospital. After about 2 months, we were shipped to Lido Beach, New York, waiting on a ship. We were there, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks, maybe a month. One day our ship came in. It was a LST 523. Had been built at Jeffersonville, Indiana, just across the river from Louisville, Kentucky. It was brand new, clean. We were very fortunate to get a new, clean ship. But we went aboard, hoisted anchor, and took off just immediately. Went up through New York, stopped in Boston for a couple of days, left there, went on up to Halifax, Nova Scotia. That's where the convoy was formed, the main convoy. We were in Halifax, I guess, a week, give or take a day or two. Took off, headed for England. I don't know how many ships was in the convoy, but I know when we'd get on top of a swell, you could look behind and forward, and as far as you could see, both ways, there were ships. I'd say at least a minimum of 100 ships. Very large convoy headed for England. Going across, we had practically nothing to do. The LST had all your necessities, but it had nothing that extra. I mean, we had no religious facilities. We had no chaplain. We had no chapel. We had no recreational facilities. It was strictly a ship to work on. The first Sunday out, one of the boys said, you know, I always went to church on Sunday. He said, there's not a chapel or anything here. And one of the other boys said, well, I did too. He said, I tell you what, said, let's just sit here on that bunk. We had little New Testaments, most of us. They read 2 or 3 verses of Scripture, discussed them. And that was a church service. The next Sunday, instead of having 2 or 3, there was about 4 or 5 of us. We built up where we had, I guess, maybe a dozen, the most we ever had any Sunday, but we'd have a little simple church service. One Sunday we tried to sing a song, all played out before we got through the first verse, so we didn't have any more music. But anyway, a recreation was either a poker game on one end of our compartment or a pinochle game on the other end. I played pinochle. It didn't make any difference about the poker, but none of us had any money anyway, so whoever won, you still didn't win anything. But anyway, 4 weeks later, we landed in Plymouth, England. They started unloading us the next morning. It was loaded heavy going across, all kinds of supplies. Took it, I don't know, 2 or 3 days to unload us. The following week, I believe it was, the medics, there was 20 of us had been assigned to that ship. And all of us that were friends in corps school and went to the hospital together, got on the same ship. That was an oddity. But anyway, we left the ship, went to a chemical warfare school. The Germans had used gas in World War I, and we didn't know what to expect in World War II. So we went to chemical warfare school for 2 weeks, learned how to treat birds and gas problems. Came back to the ship. We started making bandages, dressings, stocking first aid kits, getting ready for the invasion. At that time, we sterilized everything. We didn't have all this throwaway. You go to the doctor today, he gives you a shot, he brings out a little tray with everything. You get through, he throws away a handful of it. Well, we sterilized what we used and used it again and again and again. That was the difference. We loaded up 2 or 3 times with tanks, half-tracks, trucks, jeeps, go out into the channel, spin around a little bit, spin an hour or 2 out there, and come back in, unload. Well, a day or 2 later, we'd practice again. One day we loaded up. We didn't go out into the channel. But during the night, we took off. We was headed for Omaha Beach. We got in there D-Day. They were still trying to secure the beach, fighting right there on the beach. LST had a flat bottom. We went into the beach, and when the tide went out, we'd be on dry land. We could unload and load, but when the tide came back in, we had to be ready to hoist anchor and pull back into enough water and take off. So if we couldn't hit the beach this first trip, we had to anchor out at about 3 or 4 feet of water. We opened the bow doors, let the ramp down. They started unloading. All the trucks, as far as I know, made it into the beach. Some of the foot soldiers would go down, and those heavy packs, they'd lose the footing, drown right there at the end of the ramp. A lot of them that got to the beach only made a few steps before they were killed by snipers or stepped on a landmine or something that took their lives or injured them. We unloaded, started loading casualties, which was our job. We loaded casualties just about all night long. Next morning, we were loaded. We had between 150 and 200 casualties. I don't know just how many. But we had gone just a little ways, and one of them died. But one of the boys in our group was a licensed funeral director anyway. We had become very close friends. He was in charge of the death detail. He volunteered me to help him, which was a terrible mistake. I was the poorest helper he could have got. Anyway, our job was when it died, we carried them back into a little preparation room, cleaned them up best we could. Most of them muddy, bloody, other filth on them, but we didn't know exactly what it was. But we'd clean them up best we could. Then we'd look for a dog tag or some way to identify who they were. And then wrap them in a blanket, put them in a cooling unit to hold until we got back to England where they would be carried to a morgue. We made 3 trips in, very successful. Loaded up for our 4th trip, took off. But this time we were, I guess, beginning to feel pretty sure of ourselves. We didn't particularly worry about anything happening to us. We got into, well, about 5 miles off of Omaha Beach. It was about 11 o'clock in the morning. The tide wasn't supposed to be into about 1. So we anchored out. Wasn't too long before we had lunch. I got through with lunch. I came out on the top side. LST had 2 decks, top deck and a tank deck. I came out on the top deck, walking along down alongside the rail. 2 soldiers standing right over there. I just stopped and we started talking to them. Well, about that time we hoisted anchor, started taking our position to go in to hit the beach. One of the soldiers I was talking to said, this is our truck right here. Let's just get in and sit down. So we did. And we hadn't gone as far as here to the courthouse. We hit a bind. Terrible noise. Blew at LST into 2 pieces. The bow went this way, the stern went that way. I was on the bow in that truck. The debris that was falling, some of it was heavy stuff, came down and beat that truck all to pieces. If we hadn't been in that truck, in all probability, it would have been crushed to death, or certainly had some severe injuries. We got out of the truck when the debris had quit falling. I never saw the soldiers anymore. I don't know whether they made it or not. But I stood around, I was a poor swimmer. I knew if I jumped overboard, I wouldn't have any chance. I knew if I stayed on the bow, it was going down. I didn't have a chance. My only choice was how did I want to drown. Well, I'm standing there debating, and what I thought was close to the last seconds, not minutes, I looked off over here to the port side, and one of the medics that lived in Mississippi of our group had got a life raft loose, and he was about 100, 125 feet out on the port side here. He hollered at me. He said, Bill, said, you can't swim out here. I said, stay there. I believe I can get in there to you. But that was a big risk because if that bow had gone under, it would have made a suction and pulled everything right in with it. But he took the chance of coming in. But he got by as far as here, I guess this table here, 15, 20 feet. I said, Jack, I'd jump that far. And I almost did. I had to hit maybe 1 lick, 2 licks, but we just put our arm over the life raft and began trying to get away. We picked up 4 soldiers while we were trying to get away. 2 of them wasn't hurt too bad. 2 of them was hurt very seriously. We had to get them out of the water, lay them on the life raft. And once we got that accomplished, we began trying to get away. I don't know just how long we rode that life raft. I'd tell people about 30 minutes, but it could have been 15 minutes, it could have been 45 minutes, I don't know. You just don't look at your watch, you keep time in a situation like that. We were picked up sometime later by what we call a small boat, LCVP. It was built to carry about 25 personnel, about 25, 30 feet long, about 10 feet wide. Once we got picked up by that, we headed into Omaha Beach to the first aid station. So by that time, a 3-day storm had built up. Swells were 15, 20 foot high, 12 to 15 foot high, awful rough water. We'd make a little progress, and one of those swells would hit us. If we hadn't had a good coxswain, we'd all would have been drowned. But he fought those swells for I don't know how long. Finally, he turned to us, he said, there's no way I'd get into that beach. He said, let me see if I can get a ship that'll take you. turned around and pulled up alongside of a Liberty ship, manned by the Merchant Marines. The old skipper had to be standing up topside. He hollered at the adjutant, said, "Will you take any survivors?" The old skipper said, "I'll take all you bring me." With that, they dropped the wire basket over, and we loaded the soldiers, picked them up. Why they didn't let the other Navy man and myself get in the basket, I don't know, but they threw a cargo net over the side. Well, we'd come up on this swell, we had to jump and catch that cargo net and climb up. I didn't know whether I could do that or not. But I tell you, when it came my time to jump, I was like a squirrel. I didn't have a bit of trouble. But we got aboard ship. The old skipper patted us on the back, soaking wet. Everything we had in this world, we had on our back, and it was soaking wet. He told us, "You boys go on down to the galley, order whatever you want to eat. I'll be down in a few minutes." We did. I don't remember what I ordered, but it was good food, good food. I tried to eat, wouldn't a bite go down. I could not swallow. I looked at Jack, the other boy, he's the same shape. We sat there for a little while. The old skipper came around, put his hand on our shoulders. He said, "You boys have had an awfully hard day." He said, "I've cleaned out a compartment for you right down the passageway there." He said, "Go on down there and go to bed. Maybe that'll help you." But we did. We rolled and tumbled, rolled and tumbled. Sometime after midnight, Jack said, "Bill?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You sleep?" I said, "Jack, I think I'll never go to sleep again." He said, "I can't." He said, "Every time I close my eyes, said I relive what we've been through." He said, "I'm in awful shape." He said, "Let's just get up." So we did. Went out on the open deck. It was a beach back next to the bulkhead there. We sat on that beach. We didn't talk much. Going across, living at close quarters, 18 of us in a little small compartment. That's about all we had to do was talk, tell our life story up to that point. We knew just about all it was to know about each other. We didn't want to talk about what the Navy came out with, what they thought was the final count. Out of 145 sailors that we had aboard ship, 117 lost their lives that day. 28 of us got off. Out of those 28, every one of us that had attended that little simple church service on Sunday morning had gotten off. Most of them got Purple Hearts, but they got off, they had a chance to come back home. We stayed there, I don't know, 6, 7 weeks. Got orders to come back to the States. We've been taken out of the Navy and put in the Marines. The Marine Corps didn't have any hospital corps. It was maintained by the Navy. Once you was assigned to the Marines, you was called a Fleet Marine. We came back, left England, went all the way up to Scotland, talked to Queen Elizabeth, came back to New York, picked up orders there down to Norfolk, where we was supposed to change over. Got to Norfolk, the doctor called. Because then I guess 25, 30 of us that was left off of some ships that had been hit. I was one he called in. He examined about 5, 6 of us and just came out and told the rest of them, he said, all of you can go home. Said, I've seen enough. Said, I'm giving you 30-day leave. Well, we came home for 30 days, went back knowing it was going to the South Pacific. We stayed at Norfolk, I guess, maybe a week. Caught the train one night, one afternoon late, rode all night. Next morning, pulled in, I looked out the window. I thought, well, this is Chicago. I knew all the trains going to the West Coast went through St. Louis. But I thought, well, maybe this is an exception. But this doctor had changed our orders. In my particular case, he said that my nervous system had been shattered, and I was unfit to go back to sea for 12 months under any condition. So I wound up at Great Lakes with a first aid kit on an indoor rifle range. Spent the last 14 months I was in the service there on that indoor rifle range. If we had an accident, I was to put on a Band-Aid or call an ambulance, whatever necessary. Came home, married, had a family, worked for the Murfreesboro Electric Department for 32 years, retired. I was home one morning by myself. Phone rung. Usually I didn't answer the phone. The wife wasn't there. It wouldn't be for me. I'd forget to tell her something or get it mixed up. So I just stayed out of it. But for some reason I picked up the phone that morning and answered it. Voice on the other end said, this is Doug Hamilton, PBS in New York City. I thought, yeah, I'm Donald Duck. What are you selling? But I didn't. I treated him very nice. He wanted to know if I was in the 300th Battalion of the Combat Engineers. I said, no, sir. I was not. I was in the Navy. Oh, said, you're in the Navy? I said, yes, sir. Said, were you in a chance with LST 523? I said, I was. Said, were you on it when it was hit? I said, I was. He said, you're the one I'm looking for. He said, we're making a documentary for the 70th anniversary. I said, how's your health? Well, I said, it's fairly good, I guess, to be nearly 90 years old. He said, you're not on a walker? I said, no, sir. You use a walking stick? I said, no. He said, you married? I said, yes, sir. How's your wife's health? I said, it's better than mine. Well, he said, we'd like to invite you back to Normandy for 3 or 4 days to do some filming and ask you some questions. And want you to be in this documentary. I said, my goodness. I'll have to wait till my wife gets home, see if she thinks we can make that trip. She got home, I told her. She'd have left that afternoon, I'll tell you. She was going. So we went back to Normandy then in 2013, August of 2013. Flew into Paris, spent 1 day there, toured Paris. Next morning, drove down to Normandy. Beautiful drive, beautiful countryside over there. But had lunch, and spent that afternoon in American Cemetery. Over 9,000 buried there in that cemetery. One of our doctors, we had 2 doctors with us. One of our doctors is buried there. I got to see his grave. They asked me a question. Said, can you compare today with D-Day? Well, I said, it's just about from one extreme to the other. I said, D-Day was noisy, just about as noisy as it could be. Traffic, confusion, that channel was full of ships. And as of today, I only see 2 little small ships out there, little boats. I think they're fishing boats. The only sound you hear is a bird sitting in a tree chirping. I said, it's from one extreme to the other. And it was one of the most sacred places I've ever been. Next, we went on into Cherbourg that night. Next morning, caught a ship, rode down the English Channel, went by Utah Beach, on down to Omaha. Began to slow down and came to a stop. When we stopped, we had some cookies and, I don't know, little finger foods. We ate for a few minutes. They said, now we got a submarine, small submarine out here on the back of this ship, 3-man submarine. Would you like to get in there and go down and see what's left of your ship? I said, sure. So the pilot and his assistant and myself, we get in this submarine. Oh, it was tight. It wasn't as big around inside as this table, not near. I was over here on this side, the assistant was here, the pilot was back here with feet down between us. This end was glass, about 30 inches maybe square, where we could see through. They lifted us off over into the water. We began to submerge. Went to the bottom of the English Channel. We just circled around. I saw my ship, the bow, what was left of it. Seaweed had covered over the number on the sides. You couldn't see that. But tanks were still chained to the deck just like it was when we got hit. Bow doors was opened. One of them had fallen off. A couple of tanks had fallen off. I don't know whether the chains had weakened from age or got damaged. Anyway, a couple of tanks had fallen off, laying there. And we spent an hour and 15 minutes just circling around up and over, looking, trying to see everything we could. We came up. I'd had a great experience going back down and seeing that. We left and came back home. Had a great trip. I think the moral of my story, I'd like to leave a thought with you. There is a God. Listen to me. He's not dead. He's very much alive. He's not inactive. He's just as active as he was 2,000 years ago. Believe me. Thank you for listening. May God be as good to you as he has been to me.
So, Mr. Allen was there in 1944, right?
June.
June of 1944. Who can do the math? What's 2017 minus, what's 1944 from 2017? Anybody? Roughly?
73 years.
73 years. 73 years ago. Two scouts, maybe one or two, who's 18 or close to being 18? Close to being 19. Can you imagine going through that experience at the age that you are today? Pretty awesome experience for somebody your age to experience. He went from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, graduating from Central High School, to Normandy, France. Pretty powerful story. Does anybody have a question you'd like to ask Mr. Allen? Anybody? Yes, sir.
You said after this we would come up
We will.
I don't hear this year. If you tell me what you asked.
A veteran that they had in their family but died.
Sure. Yeah, we'll do that in a minute, okay, buddy? He just wants to mention a veteran in his family at the end. Yes, Isaac.
Whenever you went in the submarine to see the ship, was the truck you were in still there?
He said, was the truck that you were sitting in, when you went into the submarine to see your ship, did you see the truck you were sitting in when the bomb exploded your ship?
As far as I know, I did. I can't be positive, but I think I did.
Were you able to also see the stern of the ship?
Did you see the stern of the ship?
No, I did not. The stern was back up the channel. We did not spend any time looking at the stern. We spent all our time looking at the bow.
Have you been able to stay in touch with any of your comrades?
Core group, have you been able to stay in touch with that core group of fellas that you were with there that day?
I did, as long as they lived. There's only two of us still living. The boy that was on the life raft, Jack, I mentioned,
Is that right?
he still lives just out of Tupelo, Mississippi, in very bad health, can't walk, began to have some forgetfulness. I'm in better shape than he's in, but
You're in better shape than I'm in.
He said you're in better shape than he is.
we're the only two that's still living, and he's 93.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned a documentary you were in. What's the name of that?
The documentary, the documentary that you were in, do you remember the name of it?
D-Day's Sunken Secrets.
PBS. Yeah.
I'm not for sure. It can still be seen, I understand. I would say call your public broadcasting in Nashville, PBS in Nashville, and they can tell you how to view it.
Yes, sir.
As you said, 529 was an LST and it was a shallow draft ship. How did it handle the North Atlantic crossing from Halifax to England?
How did your ship do, being a flat bottom ship, handle the travel across the channel from
No, across the Atlantic.
From America over to England?
It was just like being on the worst ride at the state fair. I was sick every foot of the way. About 3 weeks out, I was in my bunk there one night so weak I could hardly get out of the sack. I cooked with a big, roly-poly, jolly guy from Boston. Came down with a little glass of cold pear juice. I had tried to eat crackers, everything, nothing would stay down. He came down and he said, "Here, Doc, drink this." I said, "Jake, it won't stay down." "How you know? Have you tried it?" I said, "Well, no, I haven't." Well, he says, "You're going to die anyway, drink it." So I did, and it stayed down. And believe it or not, I lived off of cold pear juice for nearly a week until we got to Plymouth, England.
Anybody else? Any questions? No? Okay, good. Well, if you don't mind, if you're a veteran who served in our United States in the military in one branch or the other, I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you if you don't mind come up front, stand up here with Mr. Allen. I would appreciate it. If you don't want to, that's okay. But if you're willing to come on up here, I would appreciate it. Or if you want to stand from your seat, we'll take that too. Yeah, come on up, guys. If you don't mind, we got plenty of time. I know you'd like to shake Mr. Allen's hand.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.